So for some background, I've always played video games my entire life. Video games has always been something that was always out there because you gotta remember I'm only 17, so my entire life, like I'm like the new generation. My entire life, video games has always been there in the form of like Xbox, and my Wii, like 3DS, like the Nintendo Switch. Like I've always had a device. I've always had a device with me, some sort of some sort of thing to play video games on. And like I gotta be honest with you, like some of like the most fondest memories I have is whenever like I was a little kid and I could only play video games for like an hour or two a day because my mom and dad didn't want me to play too much, and I would come home and I would just play the game, and I just play the game, and then after that, and whenever like you only have like a time limit that's like seriously set, like if makes like the time that you play like really valuable. It's almost like let's say you only had 30 minutes to clean your room up versus 2 hours to clean your room up. Obviously, like you may be thinking, well, yeah, I have more time with the 2 hours, but like really, when really if you have to clean like to the same amount as the 2 hours, then the 30 minutes you're gonna make really valuable. It's kind of like that, if that makes any sense. But I used to play video games all the time. Like when I was younger, like I'd only play like every so often because like I said, my mom and dad didn't want me to play too much. But as I got older, that's the limit started to kind of like fade away. Like my family just kind of stopped really caring as much about the video games, and I just started playing more, and I started playing more, and I started playing more. And I was always that one kid who, like, I always played video games, but I was still kind of trash at them, to be honest with you. Like I was never really that good at any game besides like Smash Bros. And I will tell you that like it wasn't until like COVID time, so about Jesus Christ, 4 years ago. That's crazy. 4 years ago that I really started to go into like the really bad habits that people talk about when it comes to video games, because we were at home, and school ended early, and so like I literally just woke up, didn't even turn my lights on, didn't even use the restroom, didn't do anything. I just turn on the game and then start gaming, start playing the game, keep trying to tell my friends to get on the game, and I would just sit there for hours a day, just not doing anything but playing games. Like there were so many days that I just spent waking up and just playing the game. And then eventually this is also the time where like I started to feel like signs of depression and anxiety, and I became a lot more antisocial because like my entire life was like revolved around the game, like how some people are. And I was like in a really bad case, like playing like 12 hours of video games a day. I didn't understand the idea of like limiting video games until later on. Like the time I wasn't playing video games, it was time I was watching video games, and I was watching like anime and other TV shows. And then ninth grade is when I still played the game, but then I had like a girlfriend at the time, and then I played some, and then eventually it got into like 10th and 11th grade, whenever like the relationship was over, and I was trying to build myself up. That was around the time where I was trying to go on to self-improvement, starting to read books, exercise. I speak about that stuff on the channel. It's whenever I actually started to like try to improve myself, and video games were still there. Like I still played video games like every single day, but soon it became time where I kind of just started to stop playing, and I really only played whenever my friends were playing. And then that limited even more, so that I only played like an hour a day. And I was completely fine with just playing, but like 2 hours a day, like 2 hours a day is good, until you start to add up that there's 365 days in a year. And let's imagine you seriously are playing like every single day. Dude, you know how many days that is? Like when you add it up, how many days of work you could have done instead in that time? It's crazy when you think about it. I think a lot of us are like, especially like if you're a young man watching this, a lot of us are drawn to video games because it really fills in this void that we all have. Because I think a lot of us, we have like that warrior inside of us that really wants to go, like that passion that really wants to go out there and go conquer that goal, and to go get the girl, and like just like the cheesy like adventure, like the cheesy adventure storyline. You know what I'm talking about. Point is that we all like really like we have that deep inside of us, and so, but a lot of the times like we can't really fulfill it just due to how like society is kind of functioned. And so we turn to video games because it gives us everything we need. It gives us these challenges, these side quests, and then it gives us like the main story, the main objective with the leveling system, so we can constantly improve ourselves, and we get the ability to come back to the thing that we struggled with at first, and then we just smash it. Like, it's just easy. It's this reason why a lot of us are drawn to video games, because like I said, it fills in a void that us as young men, we always have. That purpose, that passion. If you're somebody who is looking for passion, like, dude, look at the way you treat video games. A lot of the times this like resolves your problem. You play a lot of these story games that have these quests and have this level system, and imagine life like that. Imagine if instead of you like playing as like this badass like cowboy, like your Arthur Morgan in like Red Dead, or like your or your Mario from Super Mario Bros. What if instead you like that this was actually you in real life? Now, obviously you're not going to be like eating mushrooms, and like obviously we're not in the 1800s like how Arthur Morgan is, but imagine if we could live our life like it's a story, like it's an adventure. A lot of the times this is hard to do because it's hard to find people, like-minded people who think the same way. Many people around us, like they kind of have the defeated mentality that, like, you know, this is how my life's gonna be. I can't really change anything about it. Like, you know, we don't like, and then we still hang out with them. We still play video games with them. But I think a lot of the times we already have like that passion inside of us. We already have like that fire inside of us that, you know, we can actually genuinely help the world. It's just a matter of we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe we can actually go do that thing because, you know, we spend all our time just playing video games. We think, oh, well, you know, these fictional characters are doing all these crazy things. There's no way I could do it because I'm not him. Dude, stop thinking like that, bro. In life, there is a level system. Let me tell you, there is definitely a level system. The more you actually work yourself, the more you actually like put in the work and keep going. Like, you know how you grind, like let's say you're playing like a Pokemon game and you just keep grinding, go attacking the enemies, and eventually you come back to that enemy that you got absolutely like clobbered by in the beginning, and then like you just destroy them. It's just easy. Dude, that's the same way with life. Like, I remember how I used to struggle to sit down for like even just a minute and just like literally just sit to myself and just like breathe, like just be in nature, just be in the moment. I used to struggle with that a lot, and the more I began to practice, the more I began to learn the components to actually get to where I wanted to be, which was to sit down for a minute and just accept the present moment. And then after like meditating and having mindfulness and taking cold showers and improving my mental health, I was able to go back, and now I can turn my phone off, and I can just go into doing the work that I need to do, and just be in the present moment, be in this moment. In life, there is a level system. Let me tell you, if you see life as a game, and in the game you can't go conquer this goal unless you go level up. And dude, let me tell you, you're gonna go smashing these things, dude. Like, literally look at your life like it's a game, and you have to grind. You have to spend your time playing you have to spend your time like going to travel and doing all these side quests to be able to actually do this quest that you need to do to be able to actually move forward in your story. So I think a lot of the times, like, people give video games a bad rep, but like it can kind of be as a tool almost. But I don't suggest you to try to sit down and play video games and stuff, but you kind of understand how video games are built. You understand that video games is something that actually they have like story components. And the reason why you love video games so much is because it fills in that void of purpose. Like I said, this can actually really be a tool for you, man. So look at the video games that you play, like, you know, if you're playing single multiplayer, and try to make this into a real life thing. Like, you know, you're thinking to yourself, like, how am I going to do that? Okay, well, let's say you want to work out, right? Let's imagine it like a level system. Let's say your first goal is to do 10 push-ups. Right now you can only do 5. So you can't complete this quest yet. Start doing more push-ups throughout the day. Start to make a daily practice. Start to eat a little better to fill your body up with the nutrients it needs to do the push-ups. You see where I'm coming from? It's a level system, brother. And the more you can actually incorporate this in your life, the better you're going to be set up, man. And once you are able to do those 10 push-ups, then you want to go do 20 push-ups, and then 30, and 40, and 50, and then you want to do pull-ups, and you understand what I'm talking about. It's like levels. Stop seeing life as like this static thing that like you're only going to stay in one area. It's a step system. It's steps. Once you look, like it's like a level system. It's the same thing. It's like steps. So like you're trying to do 10 push-ups, you reach it. Now it's time to go up and do 20, and now it's time to do a pull-up, and now it's time to do, like, you understand what I'm talking about. This is a so much better way of looking at it. It's like it's levels. And right now, like let's say we're in fitness, like you might be level 0, but you want to get to level 10. Well, you can't just jump to level 10. You have to think about how to get to level 1 first. So I think video games a lot, like, it really taught me a lot of the things of, like, how to actually, like, improve in your life. How to actually, like improve on things in your life that you want to accomplish. So whenever I was trying to work out, it was so much easier than if I didn't play video games, because I used the layout that video games has, and I just started leveling up to try and go in the next level. So while I think that video games gets a really bad rep, just because it really is something that you shouldn't spend a whole lot of your time on, because if you're spending the time that you could be spending like on doing your work on video games, then yes, like I would say stop trying to play video games. And I wouldn't make any compromises. Like, okay, for instance, I haven't played video games in about 3 months because I stopped playing in like October. Just put it up. Cold turkey. It's a lot of the same way that like how people always try to figure out like some way of like moderation and stuff. Dude, a lot of the times some of the best things you can do if you want to quit something is to simply just stop. And then, like, okay, your goal is to stop. Stop looking at this don't look at this like it's a step-by-step progress. It has to be you have to stop. You make a new identity of a version of yourself that is stopping. And then instead of doing this certain thing that you did, that you had problems with, that you had an addiction to, you fill it up with something else that, like, the version of yourself that you actually want to be. So for instance, instead of playing video games, I started making YouTube videos. I started working out more. I started to read more, especially reading. Like, from the biggest thing that changed from whenever I quit video games was how much I just read. I started to read so much more. It was so much easier to read because my mind wasn't going somewhere else. So if you're somebody who's trying to quit video games, just stop. Find something else to do. Find something productive, and don't act like, oh well, don't act like, well, I don't know what else to do. I literally talk about all sorts of things on here. If you don't already know what you need to do, start reading, start working out, start meditating. Sometimes it's better to do nothing. Like, seriously, like, sometimes, because you're going to be like, oh, well, I don't have anything to do. Well, first of all, that's a shame that you don't have anything to do, because you should find something to do, because you're just going to be essentially wasting your time playing video games. So really, it's better that you just sit down and do nothing. I know this is going to sound crazy, but dude, sometimes it's better to just sit down and do absolutely nothing than to go back and play that video game, just to spend some time, to kill time. Stop looking at time like that. You only have so much of it. It's unhealthy for you to look at it as something that you just have to kill. Pass the time. That's how so many of, like, how my friends were, is that they would just say, oh, I play video games because, I told them I'm done playing video games. And they're like, oh, I only play video games just to kill the time. Like, what are you killing time for? That's your most valuable asset. It's silly that we feel like we have to kill time on our phones. We have hours of screen time on our phones and hours of time playing games and going on websites we don't need to be on. Just to kill time? You do understand that we're not going to be here forever, right? And like I said before, There's only so many years of your life that you're actually going to be healthy, that you're actually going to be in good shape, and you're going to be able to go conquer those goals. And you want to kill time? I'd really think it would serve you a lot better. I think you would think it would probably be better if you don't have anything to do, to just sit down and do nothing. Like, it could literally just be like you going outside, like where I'm at right now, and just sit out here, enjoy nature. Thoughts of really good things for you to do will start to come to you. Just give your mind the space it needs to put it together, and that'll help you out, brother. Anyway, that's all I have for you boys.